Hello and welcome to Season 2 of the Coming Down to Earth with Spirit podcast with me, David Hale. Like with Season 1, we will continue talking about all things spiritual in a real and down-to-earth way. So I hope you can join me on my podcast journey so you can learn from my own spiritual journey and experiences with spirit in order to help you on your own spiritual journey and development. So join me now as we get into this episode. Hello everybody, welcome to the podcast. I hope you're well and welcome to this listener questions episode. And this question comes from Rachel's mum. So Rachel's mum, if you're listening, thank you very much for the question. And the question is, can you learn mediumship or do you have to have it already and just develop upon it? And this is one of those questions where you may get a different answer or several answers, different answers depending on the medium that you speak to, because I've heard various answers to this myself. So let me tell you what I've heard, and I'll talk about my experience and my learnings. So I've heard some mediums say, no, you are born with it, and therefore you are a natural medium. I'll talk about that phrase in a minute. You have some which say, it's in your DNA, it's a genetic thing, it comes down the family. And I've also heard mediums say, no, anyone can learn it, it's just about tapping into it. So let's talk about, firstly, the aspect of it being in your DNA and being a genetic thing. You have to have that in your family to be a medium or a psychic. Well, let me tell you something. I have done my family tree. I've been doing my family tree since 2008. And I have a lot of members of the family in that family tree. Not one of them, which I've found, has been a psychic or a medium. There are no psychics or mediums who I've found to be in my family. All my mum's side are Irish Catholic. Irish Catholics, in general speaking, being general here, but also based on my family history, do not believe in the spirit world, do not believe that we can talk to the dead. If you're good, you go to heaven. If you're bad, you go to hell, right? Just in my experience. However, I have been told by numerous psychics that I do get my ability from my great aunt, one of my great aunts, which actually looking at it, it actually makes sense because from what I've been told by other family members, she was quite tuned into something. She wasn't a quote unquote psychic. Again, that those terms weren't used in the family, but she had that ability. She could really read people. She didn't have a bad word to say about anybody at all, but she could really read a situation. But again, she wasn't a psychic. So that cuts me out the DNA genetic scenario, right? That doesn't exist for me. Being born with it, I don't know about that. I mean, to be honest, if I'm real about it, when I started watching psychics and mediums on TV many years ago and I was a teenager, in awe of them, not thinking in a million years that I could ever do that, and the only reason I thought that I couldn't do it is because I looked at those people and I thought they were born special. I thought you had to have this special gift and that's the reason why they have it and I don't. Now I've learned over the years of my own development that that's simply not true. And I think that sometimes people may say that to put themselves on some kind of pedestal above other people to say, look how special I am. I was born with this gift. And then that's where I guess the term natural medium comes into play. Now, I don't agree with that term based on what I'm about to say. So when I started going to a development circle at a spiritualist church, we were taught that because we are spirit, we're spirit in a human body, why can't we communicate with other spirits? Just because they're in a physical body, they're not in a physical body and we are, why shouldn't we be able to do that? So we were taught that anyone can tap into mediumship and learn mediumship. Now, if you take that and look at a natural medium, then if everyone has the ability to do this work, then everyone's a natural medium, right? That's just how I see it. So, if people say to you, oh, I'm a natural medium, well, I would say, well, half an hour ago, love, you were on your Facebook Live telling everybody that they can also do this. So then surely you're saying that they're also a natural. If we can naturally do it, then we're all natural mediums. So phrases like that in my opinion, needs to be put in the bin, because all they do is when people say that, it's like when people say, I'm so gifted, it automatically puts you, whether you like it or not, on a pedestal above other people, making you look better, making you feel better or more important than other people. And that's not the case. In mediumship, there is no, oh, you're better than me and I'm better than you and I've got a better ability. That's not what it is. But that's a little bit of a different tangent there. So I'll put that to the side for a minute. But I just wanted to show the different thoughts about this whole mediumship business. So if we look at, can you train to be a medium? Well, I have done my training, and I know many of my medium friends have also done their training, right? We didn't necessarily wake up, coming out the womb going, oh, I'm a medium, right? Of course, right? Sounds obvious. But we did do our training to get to where we all are. That doesn't mean we didn't naturally have an ability. It's like anything in life. We may all have certain inclinations towards different things, but whether we tap into that inclination or not, or have an actual aptitude for something, unless we do that, then we don't know we can do something, right? Or so if we do try something that doesn't work, then maybe that's not meant to be for us. So for example, if I look at if I go back to my childhood, right? Most of the men in my family are avid football supporters, players. It's considered to be one of the more manly. I know females do play football as well, but growing up, it was more the manly sport to do. And I just did not have an inclination or natural aptitude to do it. So you could train me to be a footballer, right? But in reality, I don't even know what side of the ball to kick. So I had no natural inclination or aptitude for football, soccer, if you're in the States. So it's not that's not something I'm naturally going to do, right? But what I was naturally inclined to do was gymnastics, which I was considered more of a girly sport. And I was told that by many of the kids at school, that I was a girl, I was a gymnast Barbie, because I was the only boy doing the more feminine stuff, and they were doing the more manly football, rugby stuff, which I was not interested in. But I had a natural aptitude for gymnastics. Now, I didn't come out of the womb doing cartwheels, right? So I had to be trained to do gymnastics. But as I was training, it was very obvious very quickly that I had a natural aptitude for gymnastics, and therefore I became a gold medalist and a national champion. So that was what I was meant to do, right? Because I had a natural inclination and aptitude towards doing it, right? And so I feel when it comes to mediumship, some people are naturally inclined to do it and have a natural ability, or again, I keep using the word aptitude for it. Then if that's what you're meant to do, that's what you're meant to do. And if you're not, you're not. I know some people that have done training in mediumship, but it either wasn't for them, or they just didn't have that natural aptitude for it. And that's all right. But it's like anything in life, that, you are pulled towards things and you do it, and some things you're just not meant to do, right? I always use the analogy of being a singer. There are some people who you can teach anyone to sing, I suppose, but are they meant to be the next Whitney Houston or whoever? Maybe not, because some people again have a natural ability to be that singer, and some people are just not meant to do it. There are plenty of singers that I know who are great singers, but they chose a different career. They might sing in that karaoke or in the shower, but they didn't take it as a profession, because that's not what they were meant to do with that skill that they have. They were meant to do something else. And it does come back to being dedicated to what you're doing. So with mediumship, it does require, from my opinion, dedication and commitment. It's not that kind of ability where you could just do a 6-week course and then call yourself a medium. There are people that do that, unfortunately. But I say unfortunately because mediumship is not just a 6-week course. It's a journey, right? It can take some people years and years to, to become comfortable in their ability to put themselves out there as a medium, or to really understand what this whole thing is about, because mediumship is more than just reading for people. Mediumship is also about the philosophy behind it, where it comes from, the principles of spiritualism, how people live their life spiritually. It's not just about readings. So it takes work, it takes training, it takes studying to do it. So therefore, that's where the commitment and the dedication for it comes in. And if you have that dedication and commitment to it, then there's no reason why you can't learn mediumship and learn to be a medium, or train to be a medium. But again, I do believe there just has to be that natural, not necessarily natural, but that inclination and aptitude for it, if that makes sense. So Rachel's mum, I hope that answered your question, and actually it might answer the question that many other people want to ask as well. So I hope it does give some clarity, or at least it just gives a different way of thinking. So again, this is just my view, my opinion. I'm not forcing it on you. It's just my belief there. But thanks for listening, and I'll speak to you all soon. Well, there you have it. That's the end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed what you heard and you found it interesting. There are plenty more episodes to come, so stay tuned, and I'll speak to you all soon.